Hey, welcome to Mooney Reads. My name is Beck, and today I have a rainbow stack of LGBT book recommendations. So, it has been a weird month for me. This is the first thing that I've filmed since last month, and it is like the 23rd. Not really an intentional break, my brain just hasn't worked properly. The only thing I've managed to be able to do is TikTok. But we have a video now. I will be going through the original Pride flag. I have a book per color that either has it on the spine or featured somewhere in the cover. And I'll talk about the book and why you should read it. So we start off with pink. And for that, I have the Henna Wars. This is a sapphic YA novel. Our main character, Nishat, is a lesbian who's not quite out yet, but she meets Flavia, who she was friends with in elementary school, at a wedding over the summer. Turns out they're going to the same high school, which should be great, but things get a little complicated, especially when they're put in a class and end up having to compete against each other. This is a really sweet novel. It's definitely lighthearted, although it does tackle some big important issues like coming out, especially in a religious family. It features a really great sibling relationship, and the relationship between the two girls is really wonderful as well. There is on the page lesbian representation and bisexual representation. Next, we have red, and for that, I have Cemetery Boys. This is another YA book. It focuses on Yadriel, who is a trans brujo. His family isn't sure whether or not the rites of passage that he has to take will actually work, so he goes off with his cousin Maritza, and they do it themselves. It does end up working, but he ends up summoning the wrong ghost. The ghost that he ends up summoning is someone from his class who is not about to go to the other side very quickly. This book is hilarious and adorable. It has some of the same qualities as fan fiction in like the best way possible, like the fluffiness and goodness that you get from reading about one of your favorite ships. That's what this has. But again, while it's lighthearted and fun, it also does deal with real issues, such as dealing with family that isn't 100% affirming, and it also just deals with like little nuances that come with being trans in a really interesting way. The next color that we have is orange, and for that I have the Greif Keeper. Now I know that it's mostly white, but there are a lot of orange details, so I'll be using it for orange. This book focuses on Marisol, who goes to the United States with her sister Gabby. They are caught, and Marisol is ultimately forced into a situation where she either has to go back to El Salvador where there's danger or participate in a medical study. With this medical study, she's basically taking away the pain of someone else who's gone through something traumatic. That's really all that I'm going to say plot-wise. There's a female-female relationship. Marisol is lesbian. There is so much that can be unpacked from this story. As much as it is about, Marisol going through and trying to find stability through having to go through all of these hoops, it also says a lot about society as a whole. So there's a lot to get out of this on that level as well. This was a really beautiful book. The relationship is cute, but I think even more than that, the sister relationship in this is pretty incredible. Next, we have Yellow, and for that, I have Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. Pet is set in a world where supposedly there are no more monsters. However, when Jam accidentally brings one of her mother's paintings to life, what emerged from the painting said that it's there to hunt a monster. So that's where the adventure begins. The main character, Jam, is a trans girl. That's not a central piece of the plot, but it's definitely there. There's also some background queerness. Jam's best friend has 3 parents, one of whom is non-binary. So the casual queer representation is really great. And this is another one with a lot of thematic elements to unpack. There's a lot of difficult stuff that this is really tackling, including child sexual abuse, without being really graphic and detailed. So I think that it does its job really well. I think this is typically pegged as YA, but I would say that it's towards younger YA, and would definitely say that it is appropriate for a lot of kids that read middle grade. Next, we have the color green. And for this, I have an absolutely remarkable thing by Hank Green. He's green and the spine is green. This one is actually adult fiction, although I think that the way that it's written, a lot of people who are used to YA, I think would still really get into this. This book focuses on April May. At the beginning of this book, she finds this statue that she assumes is an art installation. Overnight, the video of her and the statue goes viral because all at the same time, dozens of those same statues were seen scattered across the world. So she finds herself in the middle of this mystery where everyone is trying to figure out where they came from and why they're here. So the mystery piece is like the biggest part of the main plot, I guess, but I would say that the bigger point of the story really has more to do with April May and her relationship with this newfound fame. You get to look at the way that she treats the people around her, the way that she treats the people who disagree with her, and the way that she gets caught up in the attention and maintaining that attention. I think there's a lot about this that talks about internet culture as a whole and kind of traps that people can fall into. It's really wonderful. This also has a sequel. I have yet to read the sequel, but I'm sure it's going to be great. The next color that we have is Indigo, which is the lighter blue. I'm not sure if the exact shade matches up completely, but we're going to pretend that it does. For that, I have Muted by Tammy Charles. This book is told in poetry. It focuses on Denver, who is the lead in an R&B group. She's still in high school, as are the other band members, but they go to a concert for one of their favorite artists, and he notices them. They get this really big opportunity to really get his help, get his support. However, things turn poorly really quickly. Denver isn't really seeing the red flags, or is at the very least ignoring it, and it goes downhill and gets really dark. I thought this was written really masterfully, especially since you're seeing everything from her perspective. Everything is also in poetry, but it's still done really well. I think you can see as a reader like what's happening, and you can also see kind of where she's coming from and why she isn't seeing those red flags, even though like you as a reader are seeing them. There is a sapphic couple in this. Don't expect it to be happy or fluffy though. I would argue that this is almost horror. Not that it necessarily tries to be. I definitely haven't read a ton of horror, so I couldn't, talk about specifics genre-wise. But the reality of the music industry, like the darkest pieces, not just of the music industry, but of humanity, can really be seen in this. And there are a lot of awful things that do happen. So this is a darker contemporary, but it is LGBT. It's beautifully written, and not nearly enough hype is out here for this book. The next color that we have is blue. And for that, I have The Passing Playbook. Again, we only have details that are dark blue, but that's totally fine. This is a new release. It is one of the many queer YA books that came out in June. This focuses on Spencer, who is a trans guy that's trying to be stealth in his new school. However, romance and soccer kind of throw a wrench into his plan. He has to decide whether he wants to stay stealth and not follow his passions, or if he wants to be out and very visible. I thought this was excellent. This one, kind of like the first couple that I talked about, it deals with difficult issues, but it does it in such a way that it still feels light. It's dealing with really contemporary stuff, looking at trans kids in sports. This also deals with religion in a way that I haven't seen done in any other kind of queer narrative. It's a secondary character who comes from a very religious, not affirming household. And you can see the additional struggle that character deals with, especially being visibly queer. So this has a fair amount of nuance in the issues that it's talking about, but it's still a fairly light read. There's still a lot of positive stuff that happens as well. And I think that balance is incredibly important, especially right now, when we're in a time where there are so many anti-trans laws in a lot of states. This is exactly something that a trans kid is going to need. And finally, we have purple. And for that, I have Witch Boy. This is an adorable series. I've talked about it before. I actually have a standalone review for the whole trilogy. The Witch Boy is a middle grade graphic novel that focuses on Aster. Aster comes from a magical family, and in those families, boys are shapeshifters and girls are witches. However, Aster isn't really taking to shapeshifting and is really interested in witch magic. So he would like his family to teach him witch magic instead. Things get a little bit more complicated when something starts happening to a lot of the boys. They start disappearing. And Aster may end up having the key to solve whatever it is that's happening to these other boys. So this is a really clear trans allegory. It also does have queer representation with some of the side characters. For instance, his best friend Charlie has 2 dads. So this is a really adorable series that you should definitely pick up. And like I said, if you want to hear more about the trilogy as a whole, definitely check out my full review of that. So here is my rainbow stack of queer book recommendations. If you've read any of these, definitely let me know what you thought about them down in the comments. In the comments below, recommend me a queer book that incorporates your favorite color in the cover. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.